Hi, it's me, Erica Sacosio, from the Childcare Director's Chair. Today, we're going to talk about something that is not related to the children. Today, we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about me. So, one of the things that I think is super important that we really don't talk about enough is the mental health and stability and relationships that teachers need in the facility, in the program, for themselves, in work and outside of work. So the reason I decided to talk about this topic is the last 3 years have been pretty tough for myself and some members of my team. And we often talk about best practice and what teachers need to do in a classroom to create the best environments, which are all important topics. But the most important thing in a classroom is the teacher. Not that they're more important than children, that's not what I mean, but what I mean is the environment could be great, but if the teacher's off, or if the teacher's not happy or healthy or in a good place, it doesn't matter the equipment and materials you have in the classroom. So I kind of wanted to talk about this topic today. Mostly, today is very unscripted. Mostly I wanted to talk about it because I found myself struggling in a few areas. As I said, the last couple of years have been tough. So I did some research for my own self and thought about what would it look like if I created some type of self-care plan. So what does that mean? What is a self-care plan? So I found it was going to be broken up into 6 different areas. None of this is earth-shaking information that you probably never heard of before, but I do think it's probably things that we maybe don't always think of. Especially as caregivers, we tend to worry about everybody else, put ourselves at last. If you're a parent, you definitely know what I mean by that. But I do think it's important, especially for teachers. We work in a high stressful job. I don't know that many jobs where you actually have to ask another adult permission to use the bathroom. So because you need coverage in your class, so you can, use the bathroom or take a phone call or those types of things. So they're real things in our job. We are on 100% the minute we walk in a classroom. We have to be aware of everything. We have to worry about the way we stand, the way that we talk, the environment. Is there anything dangerous? Are the children getting along? Are the children okay? Am I nurturing the children enough? So all of those things are super important, and that's why a self-care plan for you is equally important. So we're going to talk about the workplace and professional environment first. This is where we're going to think about how do you support yourself in the workplace when we're thinking about work. So some things are, who is your support system? And we tend to talk to other teachers, and sometimes we tend to, just, what's the word that people say, griping or complaining, or I don't know, they have, I don't really have a terminology for it, but the person that you work with every day. So that will tend to be the person that you kind of will get in their ear about what's the not great, and so that's important that you get around people who are positive, who might be able to give you some guidance and assistance in areas in the classroom that could benefit you, so that way you're not stressing yourself out. Sorry, Derek's making ghosts on the chairs over here. So it's really important that you consult with people that are at the same level as you, your peers, but I also think reaching out to people who might have more experience in areas than others. Getting a peer support group is another way that you can kind of help diminish the stress that comes with working with children. Seeking help in areas that you may be struggling with, if it's working with challenging children. It's one thing to say, hey, I'm just venting. That was the word. They use it all the time here. I'm just venting about, working with challenging children, or children who I really can't figure out yet. It's okay to vent, but that still doesn't solve your problem. Tomorrow you'll be venting again. You need to solve the problem. So how do you do that? So it might require you to look at the child from a different lens, trying to look at things from the child's perspective. Maybe talk to the parent about what things work for them at home, or what strategies the parents use to correct that behavior. Think about culturally, how does that affect, because sometimes that's a factor. How things are done at home might look differently than school. Isn't an only child, they may not have to share toys at home. So yes, when the parent says, well, they don't do that at home, sometimes that is true. If you have one child who doesn't have to transition or share a truck with another child, they may not be used to that experience. So you have to understand that, and you have to think about what ways are you going to curb your feelings about that. Get a book, do a training, do a TED talk. All those things are going to help you. Once you do the training, you have to implement and write it down. Write it down. I tried this for 5 weeks. Here were the results. Okay, I got, a 50% change in the behavior. I think you also need to be strict with setting boundaries with customers, setting boundaries with children, setting boundaries with peers, setting boundaries with your bosses. I think that's important. Reading professional journals, becoming a member of an organization like NAA or the or RIAC, working and talking with other professionals in the field. Many of us have similar experiences, and I do find some comfort in that when I talk to many of my friends that also own child care centers. And we talk about how different problems that they've had and how they came up with solutions. So I think that's important. Also, attending professional development programs really will help you a lot in the workplace. So try to really get better at what you're doing. Increase your skills. Those are things I think that will make your job less stressful. So we're going to cut there. All right, so we're back. We're back for part 2. So the second thing that we want to talk about is physical. Now, I know that sounds really funny. Super overweight, probably gained about 60 to 75 pounds in the last year and a half. Was doing really good for a while, was working out daily, doing what I was supposed to do. And I think this is probably one of the topics that me and many of the teachers talk about, how hard it is to sometimes get into that routine of taking care of ourselves physically. Well, if we're always exhausted and we're running on 0 fumes, it's a little hard to expect to be good at what we do, because again, it is a high energy job. For those of you who work with infants and toddler classes, you girls, I can't even explain how you guys can do it. Preschool certainly a challenge as well, but I'm going to have to go with infant toddler girls. Really, you just never stop moving. So you definitely have to be in top physical care. So the first thing is, again, none of these things are aha, but I want you to think about it. So developing regular sleep habits. So I know that mine are not that great lately, and I know yours aren't either. You know how I know? Because I see you on Facebook at 11 o'clock, 11:30, posting memes about this, that, or the other thing when you should be sleeping. So you need to make sure that you're getting your 8 to 9 hours of sleep, uninterrupted sleep. Some of you I know have little babies, and sometimes that's hard too. So you might want to just think about, as you put your child on a schedule, do the same thing for yourself. Maybe that means shutting off your TV an hour earlier at night and maybe reading a book or doing some type of bedtime ritual, whether it's you take a bubble bath, whatever, hot shower, whatever it is for you. Listen to some music. But I'm going to say, put the phones away, shut the TV off, because that definitely interrupts your sleep. You get hooked on binge watching, you stay up an hour and a half later than you're supposed to. And then the next day you're wondering why you're tired or cranky, or the kids aren't feeling your vibe for the day. Also, think about your diet. How many are guilty of eating the, animal cracker lunch or animal cracker breakfast? I know I am. It's really important that you pack your lunch, that you be prepared. And I'm going to say pack your lunch because I also see a lot of you go out almost daily and buy food, even healthy, not healthy, whatever. That certainly kills your money that you work really hard to earn. So, pack your lunch and make sure that it's well balanced. It's, enough to keep you nourished for the day. Make sure you take your lunch breaks and your full lunch break. Here, we feel like that's really important, which is why we give you an hour. I know a lot of places don't give you that much time, but I really do want you to come back from your break, rejuvenated, with enough energy to make it through the day, and hopefully even more than that. So when you get home, you have some left for your family and yourself and your hobbies and things like that. But many of you will work through your lunch break, no matter how many times we ask you not to. We really do mean it. We want you to take your break. That means punch out, do something that you enjoy, something that helps you de-stress. Make sure that it's healthy. Um, Maybe even go for a walk at your lunchtime now that the nice weather is coming out, springtime. Maybe take a walk around the neighborhood. I mean, both of our neighborhoods here are pretty safe. Um, the other thing, too, is even after work, if you have animals, I know a few of you have animals, take your dog out for a walk. I mean, I have cats. I can't take them out for a walk, but I do like my neighborhood. We have a local park. We have a track over there. Now that the daylight savings is coming, I definitely will be going out there a little bit more. Certainly would love to have some of you join me over at Rocky Point Park on a Saturday or Sunday morning. It's a beautiful, gorgeous walk. Enjoy some nature. Use your sick time. And if you're not sick, then use your vacation time. Don't feel bad about using it. It's important that you have a good balance. For those of you who do tend to get sick, what I'm going to suggest to you is maybe make sure you take vitamins. Make sure that you get your vitamin C, that you're getting sun, that you're washing your hands, that you're trying to stay away from situations that could make you sick. Especially your first year. Your first year is super hard. Airborne was invented by a teacher for a reason, because she was always sick. Echinacea, there's a thousand different things. Whatever your belief is, talk with your doctor and get something that will help keep you in a healthy regimen. The other thing is get some exercise before or after work, or both. Find something that you enjoy. Some of us like exercise. I personally like to lift weights, and I like walking on a treadmill or walking, but it doesn't have to look like exercise. It could be roller skating. It could be whatever you want. It could be skiing. It could be dancing. Something fun. But think about how you're taking care of yourself physically. I know that's been on my mind a lot. Again, as I said, I know funny coming from me, but it's important. So I want you to take time to do that. All right. So we talked about workplace and professional care. We talked about physical care. Next, I'd like to talk to you about psychological self-care. This is like a taboo kind of subject. No one really likes to talk about mental health. I think we need to talk about it. I think we need to talk about it a lot. I think that you need to look at activities that will help you have a clear head, be able to engage with people, be present when you need to, and be able to focus on things that you need to inside and outside of work. One of the things that I do, I've had forever, is I write in a journal. I have a journal that's probably about 14 years old. I have multiple books. And the funny thing is, when they do say when you write things down, they become true, is very true. And anybody who doesn't believe me, I'll be happy to show you my journal and show you about 99 entries that come from 10, 12 years ago, where I was going to work on my business plan, or I was going to buy this particular car, or I was going to do this particular thing, or visit this particular place. And every single one of those things I wrote down has come true. I don't know if that's destiny, manifesto, I don't really know. I think it's just setting a goal, writing it down, and doing it. But I do think it's important, putting goals aside, I think it's important just to be reflective in what it is that we do, in the life that you're living. And sometimes writing things down also takes things out of your head that you worry about and puts it on paper, but it relieves that moves that out of that space and onto paper, and then it becomes more manageable. I think seek and engage with a supervision or a regular consult, whatever that looks like for you. I actually just signed up with a mental health counselor a couple weeks ago. With the passing of my mom, I've dealt with a lot of grief in the last year. Just personal, just several griefs in my life actually, in the last year. So not just my mom. And then just some thinking of, I'm almost 50, just a lot of things in my head. And I felt like it was nice to talk to somebody who was just kind of there to listen, wasn't somebody that I already knew, so there was no background, there was nothing. It was just a blank slate where I could just kind of say what I wanted to say. I didn't have to worry about hurting people's feelings. I didn't have to worry about what would they think of me because I was feeling that way. So I do think that that I think it's a great idea to have either a counselor, a life coach, again, whatever that means for you. But it's important to have that. Also, a hobby that's not work related, whether that's painting, going out with a friend that enjoys the similar hobbies as you. I do think it's important to do that. I do find sometimes that I can get in a rut where I literally will wake up, come to work, go home, shower, eat, sleep, repeat. And you can't say that you don't feel like sometimes you do that too. So it's really, really important to mix that up. The last year I've been trying to travel a lot more. Just trying to, get out there. That's one of the hobbies I enjoy with my husband is traveling and seeing other places. So turning off your email and your cell phone. Really important. I know it's hard, but we have to do it. If you shut off your cell phone, I promise those call outs are still going to be there when you turn it on, when you're ready to go in for the morning. I do think that, again, texting out and calling out is really not something that is supposed to be done after hours on personal time. I do know emergencies happen. The center's open at 6 in the morning. But the night before, if somebody's going to be out, they really should contact you during work hours. But anyway, people are on their phones way too much. When you go out with friends to restaurants, things like that, shut off your phone. Right? You haven't seen your friend in a while, and this is you on Facebook or, well, I'm old, so I say Facebook, but Instagram and all of that. Unplug. Turn off the phones and also take time to relax. Are you thinking about when was the last time you took a bath, or the last time that you did meditation, or just something that really just helped you clear your mind? And make time to engage with friends and family that are positive. If you have a friend that literally just complains all the time, that's probably not the place to be hanging out. You got to be around people who are positive. Now, we all can have a bad day, but if you meet with somebody in 30 days and 29 of them are a bad day, that really can bring you down. So it's really important that we try to lift each other up and try to be positive about things. So those are kind of my thoughts about just doing some things that help you clear your mind. If you need help around things that make you feel a certain way, whether it's around grief, whether it's around loss, whether it's sometimes people get depressed, whatever it is, there's absolutely no shame. Please seek help. Like I said, from somebody who has some experience. All right, so let's talk a little bit about emotional self-care. So that's where you allow yourself to safely experience your full range of emotions. So you want to develop friendships that are supportive. You want to write down 3 good things that you do each day. So sometimes we don't even think about that. So intentionally try to do some things that you did each day that you like, that you enjoyed, that helps yourself or someone else. Play a sport or have coffee together with somebody. Go to the movies. I love horror movies. Actually, I haven't been to one in a while, so I think I'll probably go do that. Go to the movies with somebody. Call a friend that you haven't seen in a long time. That happens too. You'll talk to somebody, and it usually seems like at the bad places that happens. Like my mom's funeral, I've seen friends that I haven't seen in a while. I haven't gone out with, in a year. Family members too. It's really important that you make those connections. Those really do help. You have a good life. Keep meeting with parents, parent groups, social groups, any type of groups that you think might be interesting, that you can connect with other people outside of work. There is life outside of work. This is your boss telling you there's life outside of work. Talk to your friends about how you're coping with work and your life demands. Sometimes it's really hard to balance. I know that for me it is. I'm either all in one way or the other. I'm either all about my health and I'll focus on my health, and then other things slide. So it's just trying to find that balance. So it's important that you take care of your emotional well-being as well. So it's your body, your mind, your spirit. It's all those things that are together. Speaking of spirit, so I'm not in the traditional way, the way that some people would say, super spiritual or whatever. Although I probably don't even really believe that would be how I would categorize myself. But do some things that help you get connected to that part of you. For me, I like meditation. Most people who know me know that I listen to meditation music or spa music very often. I would say probably out of 7 days, I listen to it about 7 days a week. Not that only thing I listen to, but at least an hour a day I do listen to that. Sometimes at night when I'm going to bed, I will listen to it. I think it just helps me be centered. It helps me go to a place where it helps me be reflective and be more connected with the energies in the universe, whatever those might be. For some people, it means going to church or a mosque or a temple. Some people that I've talked to recently say that those places not only is where they feel connected spiritually, but also where they find some support groups and friends that have similar hobbies, thoughts, values, beliefs. Some people really enjoy doing yoga. I know that sounds like a weird connection between church and yoga, but for the yogis, you guys get it. That is sometimes how you connect with your living being, breathing. You're only centered on your breath. You're only centered on your movements. You're only centered, connecting again with the energies around you. Reflect with a close friend for support if you feel like that's something that helps you spiritually. I know sometimes people who talk a lot tend to, when they want to feel spiritual and connected, they go inward. And sometimes people who are really quiet sometimes go outward. So it really just depends on what your style is and what helps you feel connected. And sometimes you don't know that answer. So sometimes you have to just think, what makes me feel connected to God, to the universe, to other human beings. So you have to think about that. I do think that does help you have a full and healthy life. So that's it for that. So the last one I'm going to talk about is a relationship self-care. It's my favorite. So this is about maintaining healthy, supportive relationships and ensuring that you have diversity in your relationships so that you're not only connected with work people. So that means you need friends outside of work. That's what that means. You need other outlets outside of work. Those people certainly should be or could be your partners, your husbands, your wives, your children, your family. I will say that in the last 3 years, I said I had some, bad challenges and things like that around my health and things within my family, things within my family circle. But one thing that I would say probably did probably 100% turnaround was my relationship with my husband. I'm not going to get into too much in that because I don't want to, you know, disclose our private family life. But, I think we both consciously made an effort to give more, to do more, to be more connected, to spend more time together. And when I mean spend time together, it means like unplugged, like going to a cabin, going to a beach, places where we could talk and be together and do weird things that couples do when they first date that you forget about as you are together for lots of years. Holding hands, sometimes talking, sometimes not talking. So things like that are really important. Same thing with your children. I can say the first few years when we were opening up the business, like really a lot of time was spent on the business. My kids are grown now. I have an 18-year-old, well, coming up on 18, and a 21-year-old. Although I did get to spend a lot of time with them, I think that there are a lot of missed opportunities there that I would love to be able to, spend more time with my children and do things together as a family, but things just individual with my son, with my daughter, and my husband. Attend special events with your family and friends. How often do your friends invite you to go out to, even if it's something at their house, and you're like, oh, it's Friday, you mean to go, you want to go, but then you're too tired and you don't go. I know you do, because Fridays are like my crash day. And I think that I'm probably not the only teacher or someone in this field that does that. The other thing is arrive to work on time so that you don't feel rushed, because that's something that can stress you out if you feel behind the ball. And the other thing is leave on time. Prepare yourself to leave on time. That means, again, not rushing it. If you know that you're leaving at 3:30, prepare yourself, prepare your partner who's taking over, prepare the children, and that way you can get out on time. So I think that that's really important. So relationships are important. So let's just really a quick recap. We talked about workplace, professional balance. So that was kind of just where we talked a little bit about making sure that you have the resources that you need to do a good job, so that you're not stressed out due to lack of skill or lack of resources. We talked a little bit about your physical health, which I think that topic is probably talked about more than anything in the world, about being healthy. So I don't think you need a lot of guidance in that, but just think about how much water you're drinking, how much are you sleeping, how much daily exercise are you getting in. Your physical care, thinking about those things. Your psychological care, making sure that you have the supports that you need. Make sure that you're reflective. Make sure that you have time to enjoy things that you like hobbies. Make sure you connect with friends and family. So that's my little bit of self-care. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. Again, not pre-recorded or pre-rehearsed, and just things that I thought you should know. And hopefully you'll have a wonderful springtime. Summer is coming, and daylight savings is around the corner. So I love you. Take care. Hope that helps.